Now, we've got all our content. Everything that we're writing is in there. So now we can start having a little bit of fun by putting our pictures in. Again, if I were you, I would make sure I have all my pictures that I want before I start doing my slideshow. Now, there are occasions that while you're doing the slideshow, no matter how well you plan, you're going to make changes. And maybe there's another picture that you want, you can go get it. But I would have the majority of your pictures either saved in your files or you have them somehow that you can get to them quickly. Okay? And that's what I've done for you with you having the Thanksgiving pictures here. And I've put them in kind of in order, and I put it on a Word document so you can just really copy and paste over instead of you trying to get into files. But this way you can work at home and do this, and you have this document right here. So on that second slide, we actually want this ship, the Mayflower, okay? So what you do is you click on it, it highlights it, it selects it, and then we're going to copy it. So again, I'm just going to go Control-C, go back to my PowerPoint. I'm going to make sure none of my text box are highlighted or selected. So I'm going to make sure I've clicked over here in the blue area, and I'm going to Control-V as in victory. And then what I'm going to do, as you can see, it comes in right here. I don't want it covering up any of my words. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually, watch what I do. I'm going to slide it off my slide because we're going to have a little fun activity that we're going to do with that. So I'm going to slide it off so that it's off my slide with maybe a ½ inch or so from the slide. So it's off of here. But it's still going to show up, but we're going to have a little fun with it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to slide 3, and we need to go back into pictures. Now this one we're going to do a little bit more work to. I'm going to select the picture of this rocky beach, kind of what looks like maybe Plymouth Rock. So I'm going to copy it. I want to go back to my PowerPoint, and I want to paste it. Again, I'm making sure none of my text boxes are highlighted. And I'm going to move it over. I'm going to kind of move it down. I'm not using my mouse on this. I'm using my arrow keys. I'm going to kind of move it down. It's too far. So what I'm going to do is use my control arrow keys to make it so it's not as much of a move. I'm going to stretch this all the way across. Now you notice the picture does get kind of blurry. It's okay for this activity. And then I'm going to stretch it as far as I can. I don't want to cover my words, so I'm going to move it kind of down. And I'm going to try to move it so I can have it still right there. Now what I'm going to do is go back to my pictures, and I'm going to select, and what we're going to do is we're going to select 2 pictures at once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this gentleman, the little pilgrim here. I'm going to hold down the Control key, and then I'm going to select the pilgrim lady. So both of them now are highlighted. So now what I'm going to do is Control-C, and I'm going to unhighlight that picture, and I'm going to Control-V. So now they're on here, and then I can rearrange. I don't care where you put them. I really don't. I'm going to move her maybe right there, and then maybe I can move him right here. And it's not really proportionate, so maybe we put him a little bit further in the background, or we can put it here, and I can make him bigger. We can do whatever we want. We can make him fairly large and kind of put him off so it kind of looks more that, and then we can make it look like she's further off in the background. We can do several things with this. Now what I'm doing here is I just highlighted, I'll show you what I did again. I clicked on him, I clicked on her, and then I clicked on the picture. All of them are highlighted. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to group these pictures together. Why am I grouping them together? That way when I start moving these pictures, if I wanted to move this, then I can move it all together and it doesn't affect my picture whatsoever. Control-Z to move it back down. But what I've done here is I've kind of made it look like he's a little bit forward. And what this does is if I look at this right now in the preview, it shows that he's a little bit further, a little closer, and looks like she's kind of, I guess, kind of floating, but she's back further. So it kind of gives the impression that he's in a different spot than she is or something like that. Just something fun to do. Again, ideally you want to have actual pictures, not clip art. I like the actual pictures better than just clip art because it just looks more professional doing it that way. There are some little issues you have when I got rid of some of the some of the white. It did take a little bit of the white off of him and her, but for the most part, it's what we need done. Now, one thing we need to make sure we're always doing is we've already saved it once. We need to make sure we're doing a Control S. You should have already done that. If you haven't, I apologize. I didn't say to do that. I'm just so used to doing it. But I Controlled S it because I've already saved it once. So I'm making sure I save it. Every time I do a slide, realistically, I should be saving it. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to slide 4. In slide 4, we're going to grab the log cabin. That's in second page here. I'm going to copy that one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste it. And again, none of my text boxes are selected, so I'm going to paste it. Now with this one, I really want this one to take up a lot of the page. Okay? So what we have to really do on this one is we're going to go ahead and put this at the top left-hand corner. You can put it top right, you can put it at the bottom. Just put it in a corner somewhere, and now I'm going to stretch it all the way down to the next corner. As you can see, it stretches all the way across. I don't want to keep on stretching because then I'm going to start missing part of it. And I want to keep the log cabin so it's there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch it all the way down. So now my log cabin's here, it's in the winter, but you've lost your writing. Well, the easiest way to fix this is I'm going to double click on this picture and my picture tools format ribbon pops up. Then over at the left hand side, if you remember from our lesson where you had to do the Facebook symbol and move it forward, backwards, well, what I'm going to do with this one, I'm just going to click on send to back. And when I send it back, you'll see the writing pops up. Now here's where some people get into problems, is that they have this nice picture, whatever, but the writing's hard to see. Now later on we're going to fix this. Right now we're okay with this because of when we go to do our design and stuff, we'll see if that will show up if the font's in a different color. So right now it's kind of hard to see it, but that's okay right now. Again, I'm going to save it. Now the next one I'm going to go to symbols. And the symbol one that we're going to actually use is the Horn of Plenty. So I'm going to copy this one. And I'm going to go back here and paste it. Now this one I actually want in a different spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my text about the harvest was bountiful. So what I'm going to do is when I click on it, you have the dotted line. I'm going to get rid of the dotted line by clicking on it. And now I have the solid line. And then I'm going to use my arrow keys. I'm just going to move it to the bottom. And then I'm going to move the Horn of Plenty up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to double click on it because I want it to be a little bit larger. So now I'm going to increase the shape size. I'm just going to increase it. And then I'm going to increase it to 4 inches. And I'm going to increase the width. I'm just going to go ahead and increase it to 7 inches. And I'm just going to center it so it's more in the middle. And if I wanted to make, I can do special things where I can take this knob that's right here, and I can kind of turn it a little bit. Maybe I want it off a little bit, be like that. You can do several different things. You can rotate it so that it looks like that, or flipped horizontally, stuff like that. We're just going to leave it like this, where it's just barely, and I don't care how far you do this, but I am flipping this just tilting this a little bit. I don't care how much that rotates a little bit, just as long as it's not crazy. All right, so I've done this. I'm going to save it again, Control S. And then I'm going to go to Friends. Now, since I know how I want this, I'm going to go ahead and click on this, and I'm going to move this downstairs, down to the bottom of this, downstairs if you will, to the bottom of this slide. And I'm going to make it so that the writing's all the way at the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to click on the blue area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the pictures again. And I'm going to select the feast that's happening. So I'm going to copy it. And then now I'm going to paste it again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of move this over I'm not going to have it go above friends, but I'm going to make this larger, stretch it, then I'm going to stretch this up to friends. So now it kind of takes up the whole middle part of this. Then what I'm going to do is go back, and I'm going to grab the sun here. I'm going to copy it. And I know that looks like a clip art, but really it is a picture of the sun and the sky. I just did a lot of where I got rid of a lot more of the image that was on there. I just wanted the sun. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste it. And I'm going to actually move it so it's to the right hand side off of the slide and kind of towards the middle portion of this slide right here at the right hand side off of the slide. Again, we're going to do something kind of neat with it later on. I'm done with that one, so I'm going to save it. So Control S. Now I'm going to go to slide 7. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, copy the folks here, the Pilgrim family. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to paste. I'm going to, since they're already down here, I'm just going to move them to the bottom, and I'm going to stretch them so that they fit the entire slide. Stretch them over. And then what I'm going to do now, click off that, I'm going to go ahead and click on my turkey here. I'm going to copy the turkey, and then I'm going to paste him right here. I'm going to kind of move him so he's in the middle of the family. And it looks like one big happy family now. And Turkey looks all happy. He doesn't really realize that he's going to be the main feast. So he's happy right now, but later on he's not going to be so happy. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And so now we've got our slideshow built as far as the images we want on it and our content and so forth like that. So we've got all this done. Okay? And at this point, this is where you can now start doing the fun things to it. So what I'm actually going to start doing, because I know how this is supposed to look, so what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go ahead and start adding the animations.